Welcome to Steffon's soundtrack series, where I give detailed insight and sometimes personal anecdotes on how a particular song impacted my life. Today's song is Regrets by Jay-Z. Enjoy. In 1996, classic after classic hip hop album entered its way into the hip hop sphere. From all over the map, you had Tupac's All Eyes on Me holding it down for the West Coast, UGK's Riding Dirty, and Outkast's ATLiens repping the Dirty South. The Roots and Redman put on for the eastern cities not named New York. And in New York, which at the time was like its own separate place, It Was Written and Stakes Is High were provided by Nas and De La Soul, who already had classics under their belt, and a couple of debuts for Brooklyn, Lil' Kim's Hardcore and Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt. Released in the middle of the summer in 1996, Reasonable Doubt, while not as revered at the time as it is now, was important and the foundation for the man who would become, in my opinion, the greatest rapper of all time. It was supposed to be his swan song, one album detailing his life, and then bowing out the rap game gracefully. From a bird's eye view, it seemed to embody the life of a hustler. It shows you the celebratory times of the game in tracks like Feeling It. It shows you the perils of hustling in tracks like The Evils and Can I Live, and everything in between. Then after you've experienced all of that, the last track on the standard album, Regrets, details that you will have to make compromises in the world of hustling, and you will regret some of your decisions. But you have to accept that and live with them. He raps, "This is the number one rule for your set. In order to survive, gotta learn to live with regrets." While by no means am I a street guy, I paralleled Jay's story with my own life because there are a lot of regrets that I still live with to this day. There are a lot of regrets that race in my mind, especially when I try to lie down and get a good night's rest, which is very rare. I would say out of 365 days, maybe less than 100 of those are days when I am not constantly waking up throughout the night and my mind isn't racing for hours. While Jay's regrets were regarding hustling in the streets, a lot of the regrets that I struggle with deal with career aspirations and opportunities, starting all the way back when I was a teen trying to figure out those career goals and aspirations. When I was in high school, all I could imagine was being a sports reporter. So I'm in this journalism program where I would be able to practice and build on the craft I thought I loved at the time. Then for some reason, I guess still being immature at the time, I just stopped showing up when it would have gave me an opportunity to produce a story and it could potentially be entered into a contest. Then enter into college years, where I'm still hell-bent on being a sports journalist, but I end up becoming part of the college radio station. That became my true love, and I thought I had become obsessive with it. Instead of searching for internships to reflect this love earlier, I waited until my senior year, which turned out to be CBS Radio. I still think all of the time, what if I had gotten into more buildings to have different experiences when it comes to the radio business? While CBS Radio was a valuable time, with a lot of ups and downs for me emotionally, one of the biggest regrets is that I didn't ingratiate myself with a larger portion of that station, especially since a lot of the radio business is based on relationships. From the few relationships that I had made, I was introduced to a volunteer radio station where you would be able to produce your own radio program after going through a mini boot camp to learn all of the ins and outs of the radio business. I feel that I did not take full advantage of the opportunity that was presented at my feet. This was a few years ago, and looking back at it from a more mature place, I think I may have succumbed to the fear of having that kind of responsibility. But I highly regret it because at this point in time, I would fully embrace that kind of chance. Living with this stress is very difficult, which is alluded in Jay's first verse. How can I ease this stress and learn to live with these regrets? So Regrets is a song I come back to often because even with my maturity growth, I still battle with this and I can't let those regrets plague my mind because that will impede my growth in my career and as a person. Thank you for listening to Steffon's Soundtrack Series. I am Steffon GH, and you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SteffonGH. That's SteffonGH, where you can follow this series and find links to even more content.